It's the holiday season, which means more time with family, more time with friends, and more temptations for you to have in your weight loss journey that might completely derail you from your goals. Today I'm going to be talking about tips to help avoid those so you can spend more time with your family and friends and less time focusing on your weight. So tip number 1, make sure that half of your plate is covered in fruits and vegetables. This will allow you to keep your calorie count lower while still enjoying delicious foods and feeling full during your holiday meals. Tip number 2, bring a healthy dish to all of the parties you're invited to. This will allow you to know that you definitely have at least one healthier option that won't derail you in the calorie content or the fat content or the carb content, and it is something that you can use to help you with your weight loss goals. I recommend checking out my easy healthy recipes for some ideas on things you can bring, because not only are they lower in calorie, but they're also super delicious. So go ahead and check those out. Tip number 3, set limits for yourself, whether it's for number of plates, whether it's for number of drinks, and tell people you're going with these limits to hold you accountable. It's one thing to have these limits in your head and then be like, you know what, I really liked that pie, I'm gonna have another slice, and nobody's gonna judge me or know because I didn't tell anybody in the first place. So make sure you set those limits, and it's a two-parter, and tell people what your limits are so that they're aware and they can help keep you accountable. Tip number 4, to prevent overeating at a party because you're super hungry, eat a protein and fiber-based snack right before the party, 30 minutes before, so that you aren't going starving. We tend to make the worst decisions for ourselves when we go into things hungry. It applies to the grocery store, it applies to parties, it applies at restaurants, so definitely have a protein and fiber-based snack. So our bodies naturally want to conserve energy. It's in our genetics. Why? Because we used to not have an abundance of food that we could get at all times, right? The cavemen didn't have Wendy's open 24/7 in order for them to eat when they're hungry. So your body naturally wants to preserve as much energy as possible in case it doesn't have food for X amount of time. And what you can do is use this to your advantage in the following tip. Tip number 5, don't sit near the food displays. Don't sit at the counter where all of the food spread is or the buffet is. Sit the furthest from the buffet if that is what you're doing. Family style meals have the bowls on the counter instead of on the table. And the reason for this, your body is naturally not going to want to exert that extra energy. And it's not necessarily you being lazy, that's our body's genetic makeup. It wants to conserve as much of the calories that you just ate as possible. So by putting that further away, you're less likely to pick at things because your body doesn't want to move to go get it. Tip number 6, store all of your holiday goodies in places that are difficult to get to. It's the same reason that we talked about with tip number 5. Your body's going to want to naturally save that food energy that it has, so it's not going to go out of its way to get those foods when you have a craving. And finally, tip number 7, if you are a holiday baker, try switching out from flour to whole grain flour. Try finding healthier options, such as instead of using butter, use some applesauce. Finding just those little switches can really change the calorie content of those holiday baked goods. And the second part of tip number 7, it's also a twofer. Make sure you store those holiday baked goodies, I'm thinking of cookies in particular, in frosted containers so that you can't see them at all times. If you can't see them, you're not going to accidentally have an impulse trigger because you walked into the kitchen and you saw the cookie jar and, oh my gosh, now I need to have these. By having them in frosted containers, it's less likely for you to see, and they're not going to be in front of your face tempting you every single moment you're in the kitchen. I want to know in the comments below, what is your favorite holiday tradition? For me, my family goes to my grandparents' house where she makes lasagna for us and other incredible food, and just to sit with my family, talk to them, and really reconnect with them at this giant kitchen table has to be my favorite holiday tradition every single holiday and every single year. but I want to know what is yours, so drop that in the comments below. If you found these tips super helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I have a tip of the week every single week that helps you with your weight loss goals. Beautiful, you can lose weight during the holiday season. I promise that you can. You just have to be diligent in the decisions that you're making, and if they are reaching or helping you to reach your weight loss goals. You can do this. I believe in you, and I will see you next time.